183 and sets a blistering new track record. It's Saturday night at GRIDLIFE Chicago at Autobahn Country Club. Track's hot cars are going on course here in just a moment for Track Battle Group A in Time Attack here in GRIDLIFE Chicago. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer joined by Andrew Cardinale IV. Andrew, welcome aboard. It's been a full day of action, but still some more to come. All three of our Track Battle groups, followed by GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2.
It's been a fantastic day. From rain to a bit of sunlight in the afternoon to now some clouds overhead, giving us some beautiful sunset scenery. It's been a great day of racing as well. Track Battle opened up the day. We had a bit of drifting. We had some GLTC stuff. It was a whole lot of fun, and quite frankly, we're going to have a good night, a good evening, and then a good afternoon and evening tomorrow again.
Finally, the temperatures are starting to peel off at the end of a hot and cold day. It was too cold earlier, too hot later, rainy earlier. Now it's drying out. It's just absolutely turning into a great Saturday evening worth of competition.
I know there's golden hour. It's like Goldilocks hour right now.
It totally is
so
Goldilocks hour. It finally is where it needs to be temperature-wise. Again, the weather is always all over the place here. Let's have a look at our track map here tonight. 2.1 miles of race course here, Autobahn's South course here in just a moment we'll take a look at. Great look at Jackie Ding's Toyota Supra, the GR Supra, the 2020 that he runs, the PhD Supra. He just cracked a track record in the previous session by about a second, so he's already going very, very quickly here.
It is a pretty car.
It is a pretty car. Jackie's getting suited up here. And there's Matt DeRoos hunting for someone to chat with down on the grid. So we'll stay over Matt's shoulder here for a while as he finds someone to talk to. Alex Moss sitting in the ASM Super K. And just having a look, enjoying the tail end of the afternoon here. There's Alex Moss getting prepped. And Matt DeRoos is on pit lane.
Hey everyone, we're down on pit lane with Alex Moss, driver of the good old K-swapped S2000 with a little DCT action and all sorts of fun stuff. Been a little interesting with the grid order and the track today. He's chasing Jackie right now, a little off his pace, but so how are things going for you otherwise?
It's all going well for us. It's car's working well. I don't think we've got anything for Jackie this weekend, so hoping for second place is probably our maximum. But yeah, it's working. Car's driving awesome, having fun, and that's really what we're here for.
Great. Yeah, we know this car sees a lot of action. It does one lap of America. And pretty much come to almost every GRIDLIFE event, and who knows?
Finishes in second place in just about everything.
He says he finishes almost basically second place in almost everything, but he does very well for what it is. And I mean, this car has a lot done to it, and it shows. And best of luck to you today, and see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Thanks, Matt. And again, ASM Super K, wildly successful car in GRIDLIFE Track Battle, but again, going up against some very stout competition here in the Street Modified. So we'll see Alex jump on the racetrack here shortly. We wanted to talk about some track records. The Street Modified record previously in rear-wheel drive was held by Alex Moss with a 1:27.898, and Jackie's already gone into the 26s today.
Wow.
So lap time's falling here. And this is going to be probably the best session of the weekend because the temperatures are cooling off and the track is dry. So I think today, right now, is going to be the fastest we're going to see Time Attack cars go this weekend. So I think Jackie is eyeing that record to beat his record he already has from earlier today. That's what drivers are constantly trying to do. You don't show up to break the record once. You're going to show up and break it as many times as you have the opportunity to and walk away with a trophy and a new record in the book.
And we talked over lunch about the Club TR record as well. Apparently that was either we got close to or break. Yeah, that's right. So, you know, we're breaking all kinds of records today. We might break a few more with this session here in a little bit.
Matt DeRoos is on pit lane. We'll send you down there.
All right, we're here with Dana Bazinski, case-swapped BRZ, FRS, one of those two. How are things going? I know you're not quite there. You're chasing Grant Davidson a little bit. So coming into this last evening session, track's cooling off. What do you expect out of this?
Everybody expects this session to be the one to do it, so the pressure's definitely on. Grant has me by 1/10 of a second. And if I lose to him by a 1/10 of a second 2 races in a row, I'm going to be pretty butthurt. So we're going to try to go real fast right now.
Yeah, for anyone who isn't following along, Dana and Grant Davidson were going neck and neck at Midwest Fest, and Grant edged him out by 1/10 of a second. Was it in last session or? Yep. Yeah, last session on Saturday. So, yeah, he and Dana are going at it again here at Autobahn. So, best of luck.
All right, Dana Basinski again smashed that track record, but as he mentioned, Grant Davidson beat him out just by about 1/10 of a second. So that is going to be a fun battle to watch here in Falcon Club TR. Going to be a very busy Group A session between Jackie Ding, Alex Moss, and then the Falcon Club TR battle. I did get a chance to talk to Mike Amick. That car blew a motor earlier today, so Amick is out for the count in Street Modified here this weekend. That's a bummer, but that's just how it is sometimes when you build cars to the absolute limit of a rule set, Andrew. Sometimes things just don't go your way.
Yeah, you're always pushing that limit, and it goes beyond just the track. We talked earlier in the rain about drivers pushing their limits, finding that limit of grip on the track, and trying to navigate, the wet line and the dry line, really, as it dried out pretty quick. But that goes beyond just the racetrack. These guys are pushing the limits with the cars as well, trying to make them obviously go as fast as they can, and sometimes you overstep those bounds.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention some more things about the Club TR rules as cars are getting ready to roll here. We talked briefly about the Club TR track record. Last season, the Falcon Club TR track record in rear-wheel drive was run by Ryan Seiler in an S2000, 136.3. Grant Davidson's time in his front-wheel drive Integra, he just ran a 132.9. So we're 3, almost 4 seconds up on what we were last year in just 1 year of the rule set developing. Falcon Club TR, a new class last season. So it's amazing how much the development gets pushed. And you're looking at development in Street Modified with Alex Moss. Continue to push the boundaries with that dual clutch transmission. Find the limit of the rules, and then go one step past it, then go one step back again when you realize that you can't do that, or whatever people are trying to do in this class. You always think back, back in the 80s when NASCAR teams were trying to go fast, they'd put lead shot in the roll bar so that it would roll to one side. There's always somebody trying to figure out how to go faster. Thankfully, in grid life, everybody likes to play by the rules, which is really, really cool. Cars rolling off the grid now. Jackie Ding, the first one out. Alex Moss will follow, and then a whole bunch of Falcon Club TR competitors. Look at that, the sunset here in Joliet, Illinois at the Autobahn Country Club.
And that shot we've got from turn 4 looking at turn 3 looks really good. This looks good too, even. Just that this track looks great in this golden hour. It's going to be pretty.
Yeah, and before we get cars at speed, let's take you quickly through the track map here. 15 turns, 2.1 miles. That's what it looks like from high above here. Turn 1. Pretty fast, third gear. You're going to take that right-hander, sweep in through turn 2, then back to the left at turn 3, shoot the gap through the trees into turn 4, hard left there, shoot to turn 5, 5, 6, 7, very, very fast turns, left, right, right. Then at turn 8, 9, and 10, you're getting yourself slowed way down, third and second gear corners, that long stretch to turn number 11. Then it's hard on the brakes through 11 into 12, and then you're carrying as much speed as possible onto the front straightaway again.
Yeah, as we've seen, these guys are making a lot of their speed from turn 3 all the way down to turn 8, and then again from 10 to 11. And if you can get through 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way back to the start-finish, you're making speed there as well, but that seems to be a little more tricky for some of these guys, especially in high-traffic scenarios. But you've definitely got to maximize the front half of the circuit. Turns 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way through. You have got to be on that fine line that we've talked about so much today, and that's whether it's wet or dry. You've just got to be on that line. You've got to maximize everything you can. So as we unleash Group A on the racetrack here, they'll get their tires warmed up and get after it. I'm excited to see what these guys can do. I'm really excited to see just how much faster Jackie Ding can go.
Yeah, and Andreas Bartulis in that Lexus RCF on track as well, and a whole host of others. The fastest of the fast here. Again, we separate our groups out by overall pace, so you're going to have some different class cars in this mix, but as always, we'll have the class colors for you in the timing and scoring tower, and you can see when they pop up that we have our class colors there for you, so you can, you're looking for your favorites, look for their class color, and we'll have the key up there. There it is. Super Unlimited, we don't have any of those this weekend. Unlimited, Track Mod, Street GT, Street, Falcon Club TR, and Falcon Sunday Cup. Know them, learn them, love them. That's your class colors here in Time Attack. Look at Jackie Ding into turn 1, already on a hot lap through, tucks it nice and tight to the right-hand curve for 1, and throttles out now, harnessing the BMW and Toyota developed inline 6, jumps the curve at turn 3, takes a big chunk out of the apex, and now heads down towards 4.
The fourth corner on the racetrack, you see cars following, and we've got Rock in that Porsche, we got Moss in the Honda, but it is this guy, Jackie Ding, stealing the show And, of course, Moss is going to try and chase, but I don't know. That Supra's quick.
Well, he said, Alex did, that he's run second in everything he's done in that car. Well, there's still time to undo that here, but Ding is absolutely hauling, heading down towards turn 8, 9, and 10. Watch the car on the binder, slams that splitter on the ground, not quite to it, but if he's going to try to break the record by more than he did earlier, his new record of 126.898, he's trying to go quicker than that. Optimal conditions here as he sweeps through turn number 10 and heads towards 11.
You don't see many road cars with that pitch on the brakes anymore. Seeing that just shows how aggressively that car is set up. You used to see it a lot in NASCAR racing at Martinsville. The noses would just drop suddenly to the floor after being a foot in the air down the straightaway. And you're seeing that front suspension compress as soon as he drops the car on the brakes and drops it on the binders into the corner. Right here you see it again. And that's only turn 13. That's not one of the hardest braking zones at all.
Here
so
it comes.
You see how much it drops. And
onto the front straightaway. Here he comes across the line. Jackie Ding needs to be to 126.898. 126.372. New track record in street modified. Jackie Ding goes for a big celebratory slide. He gets it done. Alex Moss at 128.669.
Can he enter that in the drift later?
He might.
He may as well.
And just for reference, Alex Moss just beat his old, not quite, he missed it by about a second, but Jackie Ding obliterating his own record from earlier by about a half a second. Jimmy Rauch in track mod, a 129.
These guys are all quick.
36, absolutely. And Rauch is a couple seconds off of Ferris Khartoumi's track mod record here. Sean Feingold, though, in street in his 623 car, that previous
Halka
record.
just went faster.
Ooh, Halka, 131.918. What's the record in street? It was a 134.999. And yeah, by 3 seconds, street all-wheel drive is cleared by Josh Halka.
Wow.
That's breaking it by a lot.
I know the vote went Evo earlier, and I would like it to go Evo on the track as well, but I think the track just said STI over Evo, or WRX rather, over Evo. That's an impressive lap.
That is
131.918. Puts him 4th overall in this session.
Fastest lap of a street car here this weekend. Keeping an eye on others. Grant Davidson, we mentioned, who ran in Group C earlier. We missed this lap. His best time of the day is a 32.9, and he is about half a second off of that now. So we'll see if he can go a little quicker. Rauch through the final chicane there towards the end of the lap. See if he can improve. Rauch's got some ways to go. Ferris Khartoumi's car could be switched last year between Unlimited and Track Mod. So that's a pretty hard record to beat, but he's going to give it a go. He needs to be in the 25s to break that record. Here comes Moss again for a second go at it as Rauch trips the timing, a 128.587. Not a record, but an improvement on the weekend. And Moss does not improve that time through.
Rauch looks good through the first couple of corners for turn 3 now. Doesn't get that apex curbing quite like Ding was, but you can see he's not going to pull over. They're on cool-down laps. They've had their fun. They're going to come back into the pit lane.
Halka is just ahead of a couple other track mod competitors, Lee and Ma. Feingold, here's Nick Gardner in an unlimited class car, jumps up to 8th. Alex Westergaard in street mod jumps up to 9th in this category. Dana Basinski does a 33.7. Within a couple tenths of a second of Grant Davidson, but still not quite at the lap that Davidson ran earlier, which was a 132. Oh, Davidson did go quicker, didn't he? Yes, he did. Davidson did go faster just now, a 132.850. 842 rather, which is a tenth quicker than he ran. So Davidson just ran a little bit quicker than he ran earlier in the day. So new track record again for Falcon Club TR.
We'll be saying that a lot, I think, this evening.
I think we'll be saying that a ton. So. We've had a whole bunch of cars already improve on this, Street Mod and Falcon Club TR.
And Basinski's already getting close. He ran, a 33.0 earlier?
Basinski's best time is a 33.0.
6.2, and now he's at 33.6, I believe. 33.747. So he's only got a few tenths, 7 tenths to go. But with these cooler temps, once those tires come up and in, I think he'll be moving.
Yeah, we'll see if he can go any quicker. Basinski's got an uphill battle. He mentioned that in the interview with Matt DeRoos, that there's still a challenge to overcome here. Here come a couple of the beautiful Porsche 911s across the timing and scoring. This one in particular, the 377 of Alan Mott. He jumps up to 4th. Yep. Strong lap there within 3 seconds of Jimmy Rauch in the GT2 RS. This is a GT3. The GT2 RS is the even more insane version of the Porsche 911. So, and these cars are, I know they've got some brakes modifications and things like that, but for the most part, they don't visually look that modified. So it's really GT2 RS versus GT3. That's a bit of an unfair fight in some senses, but.
And they don't look that different either.
No.
The untrained eye, I mean, you'd think that they're in the same car and that Ma is just 3 seconds off on pace, but definitely that GT2 RS is quick, and he took that one off lap, but he's back after this lap, it looks like, so we might have another fast lap coming out of Rauch.
Alex Moss spitting sparks out from underneath the car as he heads down towards turn number 8.
He might not get it, but he's at least going to try. He will not go down without throwing some punches.
Yeah, again, remember that Ding and Moss are, both battling with paddle-shifted transmissions. Ding's car, though, not a dual-clutch transmission. Alex Moss's is. But, again, the Super's transmission is a really solid transmission, and it shifts very, very quickly. So I don't think that it's a big detractor on Ding's ability to shift quickly. Certainly, if you're running an H-pattern manual, that's going to be a bit more of a challenge. Here is Grant Davidson. This is the driver that's leading Falcon Club TR that just smashed a whole bunch of records. He's at it again. Let's follow the Acuity car as he storms down towards turn number 11. He is just hauling in that Acuity.
Based on the
Acura
looks
Integra.
and the speed, I never would have guessed that's a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, again, the Integra, one of those machines that everybody just wants. If you're a JDM guy, you want an Integra, probably. Or not. Different strokes for different folks. But through turn 13, Davidson coming across the line. We'll see if he can go faster. He's got Basinski a couple car lengths behind. Not in the Porsche, but the following car after that is Basinski's BRZ. Davidson across the line, no improvement. But again, he has reset the Club TR record.
Basinski looks like it goes no faster either, so I think those tires are a little past their fast time, if you will.
Yeah, this is it for the night. And again, I don't know if you're going to be able to go faster tomorrow, so this is probably the best chance you're going to get. Now, there's still plenty of time left in the session.
There might be hope for Basinski, considering how early in the day he went his quickest. There's potentially hope for him to knock a tenth or two off, but I really think if you were going to knock a second off, this was your chance to do it. This was your opportunity. It's not going to happen tomorrow. You might knock a little bit off, especially if you're able to find something, but it's going to be warm.
Yeah, and I think he might be cooling down the car. And again, we're not even halfway through the session. There's plenty of time.
He's not at pace right now, at least.
Right. So he's going to probably try to cool the car off and go again. So we'll see how it goes for Basinski. Again, I know he's trying real hard. Basinski's end goal, he's told me in the past, is GLTC. If you look at the times that he's running, he would be very competitive in GLTC with this car. And there's not a lot that he will have to do to make that conversion. I mean, he'll have to get the car fully caged. He does not at this time.
Well, he's with good people to do it, ASM.
Oh, I mean,
he's
ASM,
in the right place.
It's the easy button. ASM. I mean, they work really hard. I shouldn't discount that. But if you're going to build a race car and you're already in the ASM circle, you're in good hands.
He's already at pace for sure. He's knocking on the door of the times that GLTC was running earlier today. He's definitely in that range, and I think that would be a reasonable conversion for him to make at some point. I mean, maybe not this year, of course, maybe next year, but at some point, I think definitely Dana should give it a shot.
Yeah,
Time's moving around to the top 10. Westergaard now up into the top 10.
Yep, snuck up there at the 32.7. Still a couple seconds off of the leaders in that category. But Podium is still very much up for grabs. Jamie Santos is there now. But if Westergaard could creep up a couple more tenths of a second, that Podium spot could be his.
Yeah, it looks worse than it is because Westergaard is 3 spots back overall in the ticker, but it was only a tenth and a half or so. It looks worse than it is for him. He can definitely get up there and get Jamie.
So it looks like... Is the session slowing, or they might already be checkered? It looks like they're slowing now, so we should be moving on. There it is. There's results. Jackie Ding, Jimmy Rauch, Alex Moss, Alan Ma, Josh Halka. Halka and Ding have just reset records. So did Grant Davidson in Falcon Club TR. So 3 records just fell in that one session alone.
There you see Grant Davidson in the 11th spot, Dana Basinski. So you got front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive in 11th and 12th in Club TR. Steve Luca, Drew Turner. Andreas Bertulis was the fastest of the unlimited cars. He is rear-wheel drive. You can see where the rest of these times coming in. And Anish was good.
Just bought us lunch earlier. Big thanks
to
him for coming in clutch.
So I want to make sure I mentioned his name.
Robert Connie helping us out. Big shout out to him and Speed Freaks USA.
And he's excited now that he has somebody to chase.
Yeah, so he was talking about they were just about to eclipse Grant Davidson in the previous session, and Grant edged him out by about a tenth of a second. So there's going to be a good battle there, especially tomorrow, I think, if they can go a little bit quicker. But Grant Davidson setting an absolute flyer.
Even if not for record, it'll be exciting to see how they compare tomorrow and what they're able to each find. I'm sure there's still a whole lot to learn, even if it is on, even if the track isn't that fast. Certainly reason to push and reason to go after it.
Certainly. All right, Group B will be up shortly, and there's a couple cars I want to focus on in this session in particular. One of them is the bright yellow car car that's sitting towards the front of the grid. That is the Toyota GR86 of Fez Bobber, who's a Falcon Club TR competitor. Came into the weekend battling Jim Smith-Aline. They were hoping that they would be up on the front in the podium, but it's been a Grant Davidson and Basinski and Ron Mercani show up at the front of Falcon Club TR so far. As they get released on the racetrack, there's Kevin Vo in an FRS and more as they track their way on.
Supra, Honda S2000, BMW M2 or M3?
It's 200 series, 2 series, as they roll off track. Or on track, I should say. Going to be a very busy place here in Group E. There's the 44 of Joel Phillips. Got a GoPro strapped on the rig up top there. I always like seeing that. Is that a GoPro? Yeah.
How would that is?
Or a 360 cam, maybe.
That's pretty cool.
We see that a lot in Touring Cup and Time Attack, guys trying to get that fresh content for their YouTube channels.
And that goes, that goes hand in hand with the atmosphere here. A lot of times I go to a racetrack, I see a lot of people older than me, and that's not a bad thing, but it is very nice to come to a track like this, an event like this, and feel like it's just everybody is more than welcome, everybody is included, everybody can relate to everybody here. There's a great mix of people, a lot more younger people, as you and Greg talked about at Gingerman. Definitely, I think, a great atmosphere at GRIDLIFE, and one that all of motorsport needs right now.
I'll speak to that, right? Because I'm a young guy. I'm 24, so I'm in terms of the track community goes, we're both fairly young. The thing that GRIDLIFE does really, really well in terms of HPDE and Time Attack and that sort of thing is if you cross-reference, your entry-level ticket HPDE, right? The costs are just, especially for competition, the costs are lower to compete. It's Sunday Cup, again, if you want to run Sunday Cup, that is the default entry point that is inexpensive. And what does inexpensive get you at an entry point? It gets you younger people that want to compete but might not otherwise have the means. When you bring in the younger crowd, you hook them for life. And it's really hard to get somebody out of the track community once they're in it, except if they spend a whole bunch of money and they spend all this time and energy getting faster and faster and faster and buying more and faster cars, and then they burn themselves out. Where do they fall again? Sunday Cup.
And I think realistically, a lot of people our age, especially with gas prices as they are right now, what do we realistically have? We probably have a 4-cylinder. We probably have maybe a hatchback like these Sunday Cup guys run, or whatever that might fit into this. So, if we get a new car down the road or whatever, this is a reasonable way to have some fun with it. Like, it's not too far out of the realm of imagination. A few things to get it up to speed, get it up to up to snuff, if you will, but not much past that. It's very easy to take an older car that we might have laying around or your parents might have or whatever, and for us that are kind of in this in-between, it's very reasonable to go out and do this.
Fez Bobber in the yellow GR86. This is a brand new car, 2022 GR86. Again, one of those incremental improvements on the FRS BRZ GT86 platform. 2,800 pounds, 210-ish wheel horsepower if you're on the lucky side on these cars, 230-ish crank. Great chassis dynamics, great balance, and Fez has put a big wing on the back of that car to aid with some downforce at speed. Got good brakes on it, got some coilovers on it, and he is going. And you see on the left-hand side of the screen, the timing and scoring, that gray, those are all Falcon Club TR competitors. Evan Weeder, Foster Johnson, Peter Granberg, Fez Bobber, Kevin Vo, Mario Marone. All of those drivers are running in Falcon Club TR and all going and competing against each other as they come across the start-finish line for their first laps. Weeder with a 1:35.864.
And that new GR86 and that platform in general, I think gets a lot of heat right now just because of how beloved the previous generation was, but it is a pretty car. It's a beautiful car.
I think it's the other way around. This car, the previous car, the one that I own, got a lot of hate for being just slow, and they fixed that with this.
There you go.
They bumped the power level just a little bit. They got rid of the torque dip that everybody complained about, and I think the biggest challenge now is the Subaru engine. That's still potentially long-term maybe a weak point in terms of on-track capabilities. But
but who doesn't love a Boxer?
Right, I love Boxers. Well, okay, who doesn't love Boxer? Probably a lot of people. I love Boxers. I think they're cool. I think Boxer engines are neat. I mean, fundamentally, they have some
who doesn't
design
appreciate
flaws.
a Boxer?
But yeah, I mean, again, if you track prep properly, you're going to have a good time in that car.
Getting some times in now. 16 cars on, 17 cars have come across the line. We'll see 18 here in a second when Santos comes across, and plenty more. Hopefully all 26 get out there. I don't think Taggart ran a time earlier today, so hopefully he's able to get out there and get some times in. Already 4 minutes in, so these guys are already almost wrapped up with their second lap for the most part, at least front of the grid, but already time is clicking away.
Yeah, there's the 251 car on track right now. That is a Street GT competitor. That is on course right now.
Michael Barnes?
Michael Barnes, that's him in the Ford Mustang.
Shelby GT300 or GT350. There we go.
Is that a GT350 or is that just a normal Mustang?
That's what it's on the entry list as.
It is a GT350, I believe. And again, the Mustang of this generation went from being a muscle car to being a true sports car. Still maybe a little heavy around the hips, but
it's both. It plays both really well.
It does.
It looks like a pony car still. It has the right proportions, has the right attitude, but it does definitely hit that sports car, I think, nerve that a lot of people wanted it to hit, especially with the GT not lasting as long as we all wanted it to. The Mustang kind of stepped into that area really nicely, and I think fits in a lot of road racing categories. We see it in GT4 doing pretty well. Obviously, the Ford Performance School and Ford Performance efforts do quite well in IMSA, so definitely the Mustang fills that gap that we all wanted it to.
Right. I think there's a lot to be said about factory racing programs and buying a car that has support from that. For example, I know that Cal Fortner, he's on track right now in the Al's Auto Body S3 down in 19th right now, but they brought their Mercedes-AMG GTS. It had a power steering problem. But one of the things they discovered when they bought the Mercedes-AMG was that, hey, a bumper from an IMSA GT4 car actually it clips right on. So, like, you have support. I mean, if you have the means to get a hold of parts and pieces like that, cars that have real, true racing pedigree are in a great position. Fez Bobber is going to have the advantage of the GR86 Cup, which is going to be launching next year. That series will probably generate a lot of knowledge about the car that, if not in parts, in knowledge you will learn from the woes and problems that they will discover later when the series comes around.
And the Super now having a GT4 platform.
Yeah, I've followed that.
All of these new connections,
right.
And it's very cool to see this kind of thing getting a revival. Brought the Super back, reinvigorated the GR86 platform, the Mustang getting a whole lot better. There's so much we could go on and talk about.
We really are in... I'm going to say it. We're in a pretty golden age of cars that you can buy that are just really good for pretty decent value. Throw the Nissan Z in there as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of people hit on that one too, but we were talking about it yesterday. We love it.
I like how it looks. Again, it's more GT car than per my style, but again, it's just a beautiful car for that. But look at this through turn one, the number 50. Sailing on through street GT racing, and just you can look how that thing looks hooked up. And just, I've heard Tom O'Gorman talk about these cars and how they just squat on corner exit.
He doesn't look like he's struggling. He's making it look easy.
He does. There's Darian Taggart in the S2000, and right behind Evan Weeder in the 531. Weeder is at the top of the board at 134.7 in this session, which, again, is not going to put him at the top of the order in Falcon Club TR, but certainly not far off it, only about 2 seconds.
And Kyle, I knew ASM was a big deal here in Grid Life. I knew they had several cars and they had almost a whole block of the paddock and they had their block party and everything, but I didn't realize that there were others that had that kind of smaller aspect, like on their way to that level. Acuity is one of them. I was very impressed with the amount of cars they have here. Very impressed by their whole kind of campus, if you will. They're smaller campus, albeit, but their situation, their whole effort as a whole.
Yeah, throw PhD Racing in there as well.
Yes.
PhD, they bring a lot to the table in terms of entries and different unique cars. But yeah, Evan Weeder and team and this Acuity group, they do a really good job. And again, between Evan and Grant, they are dominating in Falcon Club TR. They just have to insert Dana Basinski, and they're kind of breaking up that party. And a couple others trying to do the same. But there's Mike Coons, by the way, in top 5 in the 310. Others on track, Joel Phillips, we mentioned, Ito Waxman in Falcon Club TR, 16th on the timing and scoring.
Definitely Weeder is kind of in a class of his own right now versus the rest of Club TR. You can see he's second in change clear of Johnson, but...
the other one, I just was reminded, not Fast Racing. They have a whole bunch of cars on entry list typically as well. I don't think they're in quite
T-shirts.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite as a big grid as they normally have here, but Not Fast, another big team operation. And then on the GLTC side, you've got obviously ASM, but you've got G-Speed and Viking Performance, those guys running together as a group. I know Luke McGrew has bailed on his buddies, but there was, for a while, a group of NC Miatas with Ford Fusion Duratec engine swaps that kind of ran together. There still are a few that kind of hang around now. So, you find your friends, and your friends just kind of end up doing similar things, or not. But you pad it together, and you drink together at the end of the day after a long, hard day of going out on the track, and you just enjoy the motorsport that is Falcon. Falcon, sponsor. That is Time Attack, Track Battle, Drift, GLTC, all of the above.
Yeah, the motorsport that is Valvoline.
Yes, exactly.
I will say, just looking at the times, especially in Street GT, I'm pretty impressed by the fact that you've got Brad Moore in a BMW M2 a couple of tenths off of Barnes in a Mustang GT350 as we've got one car off.
Kevin Vo goes around for a loop. Falcon Club TR competitor, currently in 10th.
I'm pretty impressed by how close those two cars are just as they are. Two very different cars, very differently built, very different formulas they're trying to hit from the factory, but two very close times on the board currently. Very nice.
So 10 minutes into Time Attack Group B, so we'll be coming up on Group C here shortly. There's through turn 1. There's Mike Coons in his Subaru STI. And as far as STI generations go, I liked this generation, the hatch generation. I just think it looks really, really good, kind of sporty. And again, look, I know Boxers have their problems, but I'm going to say it. Boxers sound really good. I'm sorry if I'm going to get flack for that, but Boxers sound great.
They do.
And no one can tell me otherwise. I mean, they can, but they're, I don't know. I don't know. Fight over it in the comments. But I like myself a Boxer. They certainly come with their short.
I mean, go to a track day and you hear a Porsche Boxer roll on by. It sounds good.
People forget that Porsche makes Boxer engines too. And, they like to hate on the Subarus, but, the Porsches aren't so bad.
Yeah, the Porsches are great. They sound great when they roll on by, especially a full song.
Man, I'm going to be the least favorite person on YouTube probably by the end of this, if we keep going at this. But Tony Barber was on track, by the way, in his Tesla Model 3. And Tony's been going after it in street class, I
Might
believe.
be hitting checkered. Everybody just kind of woed it down in turn 1.
Yep. I think we're under checkered for Track Battle Group B.
Well, that's a fun little way to get through Group B. Weeder fastest, Santos and others.
So Weeder again at the top of the board here. Let's have a look at our race results, our session results. Getting long in the tooth here at the end of the day.
It may as well be a race.
Yep. So we'll have a look at our results here shortly. And Evan Weeder in this session for Acuity is going to be at the top of that. There you can have a look at all the surroundings, the container yards, the trucking. Again, this Joliet, Illinois, a hub of shipping operations for the Chicagoland region and all of the Midwest. There's a look at your results. Evan Weeder, a 134.7. Not a bad lap at all. Santos second in the street modified car. Derek Muse, Tony Barber in that Tesla Model 3, a 35.2 and a big heavy Tesla. That's a solid lap. Fez Bobber in 10th.
Down here you get those other guys in Street GT, Michael Barnes, Brad Moore, some other guys to look at. Joel Phillips in that Porsche that we talked about earlier on. Of course, Al's Auto Body down there with that Audi S3. Great times across the board and very, very close. And I mean, I would love, honestly, to see these guys in wheel-to-wheel race, but they're here for a reason. Track battle, a lot of fun, and gives them a lot to run for each day.
You know what's really interesting is that we see a lot of all-wheel drive cars in track battle in particular. We don't see that a lot in GLTC. However, one of our drivers, Sean Krebsbach, that ran track battle in the past, has a Mitsubishi Evo that he is currently converting to a GLTC car. We've only seen all-wheel drive twice in GLTC's history. So Sean will be the first regular to bring an all-wheel drive car to the table in a wheel-to-wheel series that we run. It's getting dark out. I know it's a little bit lighter out our little crack in the tent than it looks on
TV
on
makes it look a little bit dark.
They just knocked the
there we go.
Yeah.
Filter came up one notch. It looks a little brighter. But yeah, TV kind of changes that perspective. It's a little bit lighter here in person, but as we've got Group C rolling onto the racetrack, this should be a fun one. I saw the Cutlass roll on out.
Yep, so there's the Oldsmobile Cutlass. That's Cody Hunt. And I told the Sunday Cup boys that we'd give them some camera time, and they're going to get some camera time. So we're going to wait on the Falcon Sunday Cup competitors. They're going to go out nose to tail, and they're going to try to break some records. Let's fill you in on where Sunday Cup is coming into this session. The fastest Sunday Cup car so far this weekend is Jacob Abbott with a 146.818. That is blisteringly quick. Anthony Novelli's about 3 seconds back, so that's kind of a big gap for Abbott to have over the rest of the Sunday Cup field. Rory Lonergan is right behind in a 149.386, but there are the fits coming out. Nose to tail.
It's not just fits though. We have a and a Mazda 2 with us here this weekend. I don't see the Cobalt, but we have a little bit of variety anyways. I don't know that they're going to go to the top of the board. It seems like the Fit boys have things worked out, but very cool to at least see that little bit of variety.
Yeah, the Mazda 2 is Becky Burton from the Robertson Racing Camp, and she's bringing the Mazda 2 up against the Fits. But again, we've always talked and we've advocated for this Falcon Sunday Cup class because it's just the least expensive point of entry to competitive action here at GridLife. So, as cars work their way around, again, the Sunday Cup cars will probably group up and have some fun together. And you see leading that pack, I think that's Jacob Abbott leading the way. Just behind is the Hard Times car. That's Anthony Novelli. There is the 594 car tucked in right behind.
Rory Lonergan.
Yes, that's Rory Lonergan. I don't know if I've ever met Rory. I'll have to stop by and say hi in the paddock after this one. But again, this is classic slow car fast. I mean, this is what we want to see, right? I mean, just carrying as much momentum.
I agree, Kyle.
Yeah.
I agree, 100%.
I'm going to try that word again, momentum.
There we go.
And that's really all that's at stake here. So there's a 594 of Lonergan. Luca Barberis out here, but let's keep our focus on those Sunday Cup cars as they sweep on through. Again, nose to tail. And again, we've got 1, 2, 3 in a line. We were talking about draft a little bit. Don't think it's a huge deal. I think you're really just going to run nose to tail to have fun and just kind of follow each other's.
If anything, I think the one place that's going to help is turn 1 and turn 11 maybe. Just, getting into those corners a little bit. You have a little more speed if you're following along. But, yeah, I was talking with Dana because, I'm used to the iRacing stuff. I'm used to the sim racing stuff.
Here we go.
There's that Mini Cooper. But, I'm used to, if I see all these cars on track like this going for a lap time, it's usually an open qualifying session, and you definitely use the draft on there. So, I was asking around, just kind of trying to get acclimated to all of this, and was talking with Dana a little bit last night, and he told me it's not really a big deal. So that was very interesting to me to talk with him about, learn about, and find out it's not really that big of a deal for these guys. It's not really going for it.
Yeah, so track record in Sunday Cup is held by Matt Williams from the summer of 2020 at a 1:47.616. So if Abbott goes faster than a 47.616, he'll be a new track record holder. Again, the Falcon Sunday Cup cars are the pink ones on the timing and scoring. There's the 92 of, I think that's one of our Smiths.
Yep. Brad Smith.
Brad Smith, that's right. Heading around for a lap here. But here comes Abbott into the chicane. And nice smooth lines here. Abbott from Abbott Auto Performance. They do a lot of work on Subarus. Just did a K-Swap BRZ for himself. But here in Sunday Cup having the inexpensive fun. And there was another big group that we had that with the Mini and the Mazda 2 were in as well. And I'd love to get a shot of them, that big group that was nose to tail. But Abbott still going after it here right out to the edge of the, or excuse me, that's the 92 rather, of Brad Smith going right out to the edge of the road. And first times across the line, we'll wait for our Falcon Sunday Cup cars to trip the timing and scoring and give us our first.
A 1:33 out of Barberis.
That's pretty good. That's a great time for Luca.
That's faster than all of Group B.
Is it?
We had a 1:34 on top of the board.
Wow. Oh, you're right. So Barberis did go quicker
than
everybody in Group B. So that will mean that tomorrow he probably will be in Group B. All right, let's look for some times in Falcon Sunday Cup. Wait for Abbott. Here he comes. And a whoops, I think it was a
149 change. Oh, Novelli, 148.9 in the top 10.
Not quite the record. We've had, we need to beat a 46. What do we need to beat? A 47.6. So Jacob Abbott actually has broken the record earlier this weekend. So Abbott is the current record holder at a 46.8. So Novelli's about 2 seconds off of that. And there's that group we're looking for. Pete Lindbergh, Kyle Karstens, and more across the line side by side. And having a lot of fun here. Chucking it into turn 1. Lindbergh lifting the right rear tire. He just reset a whole bunch of the camber on that car with help from James Morgan. So they got that car kind of stanced out so it can grip a little better in the corners. And this is the group that I think is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Karsten's following in the Hard Times car.
There was that Mini out ahead. Eric Streeter behind the wheel in that one.
Yes. So Streeter's going to be in the Mini. And just, again, slow car fast, 86 miles an hour and having the biggest smile of anybody on track here this weekend.
But you know what? There's an art to going slow fast. There's an art to this. It's definitely different, per se, versus, Club TR or whatever, but there's definitely an art to managing one of these front-wheel drive cars, one of these Fits or Mini Coopers or what have you on a course like this and getting the most out of it.
So Pete Lindbergh leading the way here. I owe Pete a lot over my years here at GridLife. He changed my brakes out for me last season on his own accord. He offered to help me and essentially just ended up doing it. And I was watching him, learning all sorts of cool things. Pete, big help in our paddock and on grid. And he's here enjoying himself ahead of Kyle Karstens in that 411. That's right behind him. That's that silver and yellow car. And didn't get a number on the blue car that's third in line there. Typically, our highest running blue Fit would be Matt Williams, but he's not here. It's the 201.
That would be Fez Dar.
Fez Dar, that's right. We were talking about Fez earlier.
So we should have... who was it again? We should have him back across the line here in just one moment.
Abbott is the first guy that will be back across the line again.
Brad Smith as well. Smith goes to a 149, 121. I'm looking for Abbott, and I lost. Oh, he's up there at a 149.672 now.
Yeah, so not faster yet.
So Smith is now fastest of the Sunday Cup drivers in the... No, actually. be Anthony Novelli, sitting tight at a 148.9, just a little ways back of Dan Mai. Of course, Dan Mai in one of his Club TR machines, but it's interesting. They're starting to work up that order. I don't know if we're going to get a 146 again. That might have been an anomaly, but we're going to have some good times.
I wonder why, because this is, again, I would think that this is optimal conditions to go fast, but Abbott nor anybody else has quite had the legs to break into the 46s. That shows how good of a lap Abbott ran earlier today. That's pretty impressive.
It is pretty odd because, I mean, we've still got some heat in the track from the day, but it's not overly hot. It has cooled down quite a bit, and there's cool air there's cool air for these guys to take in to make a little more power. So it is very interesting that these guys are just a little bit off pace right now, but we might see that change as these pressures build.
So Pete Lindbergh still rolling around at 151.311 is his best time this session. Eric Streeter just ahead of him, Fezdar right behind him in terms of lap time. Novelli, though, still the quickest of this group at a 148.949.
Lonergan went a bit quicker.
A little quicker, but not quite record-breaking. I'm curious how much quicker they will go. Session time is running short. I can see out my window in the tent here that GLTC is getting set to go racing here shortly, so we're running out of time. But bouncing through turn one, there's that 594 again. Bouncing up over the curbs. Rory Lonergan sweeping through turn three.
He went no faster that time, but Novelli's up to a 148.193, Kyle. That's not record-breaking or anything, but starting to get back in that neighborhood. It's a second and a half off. Given the circumstances, I don't think that's bad, but definitely would like to see if he can get one more good time out of that car, maybe drop into the 47s at the very least. So we'll see what he can do. You see more cars on. I'm really watching to see if that Mini can pick up time. Eric Streeter, he's at a 150.092 currently. Might have one or two more laps in him chasing Joe Sabal in the 412. Brad Smith in that line as well. And there is one car that was behind these guys, but I think he picked it up and I lost that name. But these guys are all getting settled in. If you're curious about the top of the field, you can see the top 10, of course, on your screen. Barberis still quickest. Halka in the second spot, 139.566. Your fastest Club TR machine is Trip Walker in the 113, 140.610. And your fastest street modified, Andre Wenzel, running a 141.087. And not much changing for Sunday Cup, Kyle. Things have stayed just about the same.
Yeah, towards the end of the session, end of the day for Falcon Sunday Cup and the rest of the categories here. And it looks like, I think all of the records that we would have seen have been beaten today.
Yep.
And what this means is that this will be the end of the day for Track Battle Time Attack Group C. Again, we're not done yet, so don't go anywhere. GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2 is coming up in just a moment, just after the conclusion of this. Let's have a
Abbott just pinged a 147.258. He's getting close.
Getting close, but not close enough. There's your results. Luca Barberis, Tom Halka, Trip Walker, Andre Wenzel, Sean Hennigan, your top 5. Asif Muhammad, Arthur Dvortson, Matthew Smith, Piero Pucci, Logan Geyer, your top 10. There's a less to look down the order.
Abbott.
There's Abbott at 147.258. Novelli at a 148.193. Getting close.
Does
not
Abbott
quite close
beat the
enough.
previous record with that? Was he at least
no,
close?
I think the previous. Oh, yes, it was. It did break the previous record. The 147.616 was the previous record.
So Novelli didn't quite get there, but Abbott did. So he's at least. He can go home saying he's faster than the previous record, but he's still second so far for the weekend. Properly fast still for Logan Abbott there.
All right, Track Battle Time Attack on Saturday complete. We're going to move on to GLTC here in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Green flag flies, and we're racing. The high counter pushes Jensen along the exit of turn number 4. This win, it's big fly! It's time to go racing at GRIDLIFE Midwest. Hill side by side. O'Gorman around the outside now for the top spot. Tom O'Gorman goes to lead. 3 wide for the lead. This is great racing, folks. This is what this series is all about.
Saturday action coming to a close at GRIDLIFE Chicago at Autobahn Country Club. GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2, the last thing on the schedule for Saturday racing here from ABCC. Kyle Heyer alongside Andrew Cardinale IV. Andrew, welcome back. The sun is getting real low in the sky, and our track time is getting real short, but GLTC still has one more race left to do after a barn burner of a race earlier today.
That was fantastic. Great introduction for myself, and I'm sure other new fans, be it here in the paddock or watching around Turn 1 or watching online with us this evening. Definitely a great introduction, a great way to learn some of GLTC and what it's about. And now the sun's down, intensity is going to pick up, though. That's usually what happens. Larry McReynolds says the night time is the right time. The sun is down, temperatures are dropping. That means the intensity, like you said earlier, is going to ratchet up. The sparks are going to fly, maybe, and we're going to see some great racing.
Well, let's have a look at our track here. 2.1 miles, 15 turns, Autobahn Country Club. Just outside of Joliet, Illinois, and about an hour and a half away from Chicago. A run down to turn number 1. This track brand new, constructed back in 2004. A run down to turn 1, a right-hander into turn 2. That's another fast right. The whole track extremely flat, but from turn 3 to turn 7, you're pretty much flat out, little dabs on the brakes just to point the car.
Yeah, especially through 4, 5, 6, and into 7. 7's really just a kink, mostly flat out, as fast as you can take it anyways. 8, 9, and 10, it's kind of that stadium complex, like you said earlier. Really tight corners. You got to be patient in turn 9 to get a good run out of 10 down that long back straightaway to turn 11. 12 is kind of that second little chicane into turn 13. And if you can hit 13 just right, you're back on the power all the way to turn 1, and that's where a lot of money is made, or I guess figuratively anyways, that's where a lot of time is made up before you get down to that first corner.
We saw lots of passing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 1. We saw lots of dramas. The good news is everybody came out the other side okay, and we'll have a full grid for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2 here shortly. If you've never watched a GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race, 12-minute races, very, very short, but all single-class, wheel-to-wheel, power-to-weight based classing. So what that means is that everybody's got around the same power-to-weight, some heavier and more powerful, some lighter and less powerful, but they all balance to a spectacular symphony of V8s and 4 cylinders and V6s and inline 6s. All these things come together to make one of the best grassroots racing series in North America, and we're getting ready to watch that second race here today.
You say one of the best, but I think easily GRIDLIFE could be a household name within a few years, or maybe not a few years, but down the road at least. I think this series is going in the right direction, going places, and especially these streams. We've gotten a whole lot of support this weekend already, just today, and seeing it all is very cool. Seeing all this in action is very cool, very special, and really great stuff that I think we're able to showcase.
I think a lot of people don't know this exists, and if they did, it would be something that they put on their calendar. And thanks again for joining us on GRIDLIFE Live and being here with us as we get prepped to go racing. The field and the drivers climbing in. And there's Eric Jensen, who gained a whole bunch of spots, 12 spots in race 1 to climb up into 10th. But we grid our second race by lap time from race number 1. So when the cars roll off the grid, we'll take you through the grid. But having a look down, 30-plus cars. Our average field size last season, 33. And we're above that again this weekend, as we have been the last few weekends. So, again, a very strong field with some of the best drivers that I've seen in grassroots racing. One of our staff worker, Scott Giles, says if you want to win a GLTC race, you're going to have to run a pole record time in any other class in grassroots North American road racing if you want to win one of these races. And you have to do that lap after lap after lap to win one of these things.
Just to start out, the theory of the series pretty much, keeping things close, power to weight, and garnering 35 cars each and every round is already special. Tracks would kill to have 35 cars like this, 33 cars like this each and every race they come out for.
All right, cars just finishing up, peeling off of the grid. Again, once the pace car heads out, we will bring you the starting lineup here. But we also should mention the pace car for this race. Again, we have a submission that you can do. You can win a competition. If you follow the Instagram, GRIDLIFE Official, you can jump on there before each of our events, and you can submit your car to be selected for GLTC Pace Car. We've had all sorts of things. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. We've had Supras and old GTRs and trucks and all sorts of weird things. But for race number 2, it's going to be a Datsun 240Z owned by Mark Drippy Smith out of Arcola, Illinois.
Is that red one I saw earlier?
It is.
I saw that in the paddock.
Ooh,
it was actually...
Maybe it's not that car. It might be the Porsche 911. We'll have to see if they switched it on us. We'll get a shot of the pace car here.
If it's that red Datsun that we saw...
That is on the schedule to
definitely
be the
fell
pace
in love
car.
with it.
Yeah, so that is...
That's it.
That's it, the Datsun 240. So this is Mark Smith's
Datsun pretty car.
240Z. The car is from the last year of production of the 240Z. It was purchased by Mark in 1988, so he's owned it for 35 years. Stock drivetrain, he's lowered it about 1.5 inches. He just did 1,600 miles in the Southeast with the Hot Rod Power Tour. So this car gets driven. It gets driven a lot. It's going to get driven by Mike Cohn, our pace car driver, for the beginning of race number 2. Again, we're expecting 1 pace lap for this. So as soon as they get the command to let that car roll, we will turn them loose after just 1 trip around Autobahn Country Club. And
the color technically is Guards Red, and it's a beauty. That is a beautiful car.
It's so clean and shiny, and there's something about Datsuns from from that era that I really think are neat and classy and just very, very pretty cars.
And it's good to see it's still getting driven. It's not just holed up in a garage and sometimes taken out on the back of a trailer. It gets driven, it gets its miles, and it's
they made a lot of them. I mean, they made a lot of these cars, so it's not like they're super rare, but it is still nice to see it driven. Car rolls off. Let's roll through our starting lineup here for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2 as the field rolls off. Tom O'Gorman alongside Jeremy Swenson as your pole sitter and your second place runner. Andy Smitagard starts in row number 2 alongside Jeff Preston in the number 47. Behind them in row number 3, starting in the 5th spot, is going to be Austin Hurdle in the number 34, driving his 2013 370. Matt Walbot from ASM rolls off 6th in his 03 S2000. Row 4, Emil Tab in the number 14 for the winning formula, and Kerry James with AKG Motorsport starts in 8th. In 9th place, row number 5 is going to be Eric Jensen in his 2016 FRS, and Ryan Upham rolls off 10th in his M3.
From position 11 on the inside of row number 6 is Matan Rosenberg, the 18-year-old in that Mazda Miata. It was quick, but had a bad finish earlier today. Jake Jornstad starts from the 12th position in his Honda S2000. Ahead of Vitus, I got it down earlier, but anyways, Aronowskis in the BMW M3, and I think that was Matthias over there on the right side. Zach Lavoie starts from 15th tonight. It's Armis Karosis from the 16th position in his BMW M3, ahead of Scott Robertson and Louis Chatroop in the 1993 BMW 325 IS in the 18th spot. Row 10, it's Paul Darling on the inside with Wes Case outside.
In 21st place, row number 11. Is going to be Patrick Reyes in his 2006 Honda S2000 for Torque Team Racing. Ronnie Solomon from ASM. Mega effort by that team to get that car rolling again. He rolls off 22nd. 23rd place, Andy Sundin, new entry this weekend in the 546 BMW. Fiona Liu starts 24th in her S2000. Dustin Barty starts in 25th in the number 24 car. He went for a big wild ride earlier. He gathered it back up. He'll start row 25th alongside Julio Crispin in his 350Z. Hans Horpedal from Myriad Motorsports and Felipe Gonzalez. Teammates share row number 14. Row 15, Joe Tulo in the 1986 BMW M3 alongside Richard Sawicki in the number 528. Will roll off in 30th. Justin Loutz starts 31st alongside Max Lupfer, Lupoff Racing, the 1990 Mazda Miata. Last row, Joel Morrison, the 171 out of Ottawa. He will start in 33rd on our eBay Motors start.
That bird just chilling.
Might be a bird just chilling.
He's just hanging out. He's got the best seat in the house just watching these guys go on by into turn 8. I would love to be that bird right now, that close to the racetrack, getting ready for this race to go green.
Well, gearing up for racing here for our second time this weekend. 2 more races tomorrow, along with more track battle and drift. Kyle Heyer and Andrew Cardinale IV bringing you GLTC. 12 minutes will go up on the board here shortly, and we'll turn them loose at sunset here in Joliet, Illinois.
Oh, we're a little past sunset. Again, this is where the lights come on. This is where the sun is properly down. And it starts to get just that little bit darker. You're starting to miss maybe some references you saw earlier in the day with shadows and such. And we are properly in the beginnings of night. We're a little past that golden hour, twilight even.
We've never raced this late at this track before. We have raced in the dark a couple of times. Well, I mean in the dark. So,
on for us.
Yeah, Jeremy Swenson has no headlights, so we better hope that it doesn't get too much darker out there. I can still see okay out the side, so we should be good. Pace car pulls off. The Datsun 240Z heads for home. Up front, Tom O'Gorman, race 1 winner versus the 2021 reigning champion, Jeremy Swenson. Side by side, green flag flies, and we're racing at Autobahn Country Club for the second time this weekend. Through turn 1, O'Gorman fresh and free and clear. Swenson follows. Andy Smitagard and Jeff Preston battle for 3rd and 4th. Great start for Preston. Jumps up. Whoa, 1 car around. Eric Jensen goes for a slide in turn 3.
After that top 10 effort earlier in the day, that's going to hurt him too, because race 3 is set by finishing position from this race. Oh, that's his weekend. Well, not his weekend, but that's his weekend severely hurt. It's
going to be real tough, and that's an unfortunate way to start the race. O'Gorman, Swenson, Smitagard. Jeremy didn't get the start I thought he was going to get, but can he keep Tomo in touch here. Again, both cars went on the dyno after race 1. Both cars legal, so we're good and free and clear to continue racing. Here comes Jornstad up the inside of Upham. That's for position down towards turn number 10. He's got overlap there, touches the brakes, got squeezed there a little bit. Matan Rosenberg with a huge run. Here he comes up the inside for a dive on the brakes into turn 10.
Rosenberg for a pass makes it clear by turn in, or at least by the apex there. Getting that spot, you see everybody else side by side, mixed around. Look at this group of cars way in the back, side by side. Fiona Liu there on the outside in the Pikachu, number 88.
Yeah, Swenson and Smitagard now separated by just about 5 car lengths. But Swenson's pulling closer to Tomo here. This is the strength of that Corvette. And with Tomo not having to clear a racetrack behind him as much as he did in race 1, he might have a little bit of pressure from that bright purple Viking Performance Corvette. Through turn 13 to complete our first lap.
Swenson actually close this time with around the 14th corner. Now turn 15 past that pit entry. We'll see what he can do. I'm excited to see what he can do. He was much further back by the time he got clear with Smitagard in race 1, so not having to deal with Andy as closely behind him this time, maybe that'll change. Maybe Smitagard can run him down and do something with him. And I mean, for Smitagard, it'd be great because he can challenge for second, but at the same time, he's going to lose touch with O'Gorman if he pokes his nose to the inside. I think that's what they have to be careful with here in the early goings. Let this race settle in, and if Tomo runs off, then Tomo runs off. But at least wait a second, maybe.
Vitus Aronowskis in the background there, the yellow BMW. He's got Zach Lavoie, the red ASM car, the 42 right behind him. Micaiah Hackbarth in the 447 for ASM right behind him. That's all battling just outside the top 15 at the moment as they sweep through turn 4 once again. There's Vitus with the Venera livery, brand new for the weekend. The yellow, black, and red. Chasing Lewis Chatroop from Performance Zero Works right up the road. BMW versus BMW here. 2 in a row.
Very similar cars, a lot more air work done to Vitus's 144.
Yeah, and again, this is a great weekend so far for Vitus. Again, this is as far forward as I've seen him run. Zach Lavoie takes a big dive on him, but not enough overlap to go for a pass there at turn number 8. Now through 9 and 10.
And Vitus got that spot in the early part of the lap. They pinged across the line of the opposite order with Vitus in 15th and Zach in 14th. So Zach trying to get that spot back away. We saw the issues that Zach had early in race 1. He was up around the top 10 almost, inside the top 15 surely, and had that contact with, who was it, the 24 car? I forget now.
Justin Barty.
Barty, that's right. Had that contact in turn 3 and unfortunately kind of ruined his race. He backed up, gave us a few spots away, trying to be the gentleman there, and kind of ruined that effort.
Matan Rosenberg side by side with, I think there was a Remus Carosis that he was door-to-door with into turn 13. Austin Hurdle is up to 5th place. Great start for the 34. So that's a good move forward for that 370Z. But O'Gorman very slowly stretching the lead now. 1 second is the gap over Swenson. Then it's half a second back to Smitagard, and then a couple seconds back to Jeff Preston, who holds 4th. That might be Preston's best run of the season. I think it is. Look at Carosis in the background getting passed by Rosenberg, who finally completes that pass. That would be for 10th spot. So move the 484 up into the top 10.
Micaiah Hackbarth had passed right up on that lap for the 9th spot, ahead of 10th, and Rosenberg actually pinged across the line in 20th. So do we have, I think we're calling Hackbarth there in that spot. At least the way timing and scoring is coming across.
We'll sort that out for you next time by the stripe. Jornstad chasing Remus Carosis now for 11th spot. Whoa, Hackbarth in the dirt at the entry into turn 8, chasing Chatroop. Had the nose out there. I think he got squeezed into the grass just a little bit. Opens the door for his teammate, Zach Lavoie. Here comes Robertson, who had that great qualifying run in the first race. Didn't quite get the finishing order he probably deserved, but now side by side with Lavoie. And one car spun. That is Jeff Preston out of 4th place. Our 4th place car turned around and off by the corner station. That is heartbreaking for Preston. He was having such a good race.
Had a second on Hurdle across the line. Wonder if maybe they had come closer together, if something had happened. If Preston had been pressured into a mistake, I don't know. But here you go. Smitagard and Swenson very close. Smitagard on the attack down to turn 1, but nothing to really do just yet. He's going to get closer to make that move.
Yeah, Swenson struggled that lap, lost a full second to Tomo. So Smitagard putting the pressure on through turn 3 now. Jumping the curbs to Smitagard to try to gain some overlap, but Swenson's strength is defense. If he was out front right now, things might look very different. He'd be probably the cork in the bottle for the ASM cars behind, but with Tom out front, he's just setting sail again.
So Hurdle now into that 4th spot. Waldbaum now into 5th. James, Tab, Upham, Rosenberg, and Karosis, your top 10. Rosenberg is, I guess, up in that spot, so maybe some discrepancies there. But good to see him getting his proper chance of this again, right? He was in the 10th spot just about the entirety of race 1, had whatever failure into turn 1 late in that race, and dropped down to, what, the 18th position, which was definitely not at all indicative of the efforts put forth and the run that he had. So hopefully he can close this one out, at least in the top 10 or close to it.
So Smitagard continues to work over Swenson as Tomo stretches his legs. Again, we talked earlier about how Tom described his car as expletive phenomenal, and it's been showing so far. He has been absolutely picture perfect. Pole, race 1 and race 2 victories in sight if he can finish out the next 6 minutes up front in that ASM S2000. Swenson, Smitagard, Hurdle, Waldbaum, the rest of your top 5 with Preston along the side of the road. Preston has found a place off track by a corner station so we can stay green and continue racing. Great heads up by Preston to get far enough on track that we don't have to throw a full course yellow.
And yeah, but look at that. If he's still there at that corner station, something might have failed on that car.
Yeah, likely it's a parts failure. Again, we've seen that kind of car. It's a Duratec swap NC Miata. We've seen those cars have some issues in the past. Hope it's easy, he can fix it, but you know, it's always a toss-up. There's Ryan Upham by himself, and look at Matan Rosenberg continuing to climb forward up to 9th now. And Remus Karosis, Jorenstad, and then it's right behind him. Look at this battle. There's Chatroop, Lavoie, and Wes Case. BMW, Honda, BMW.
Lavoie looks to the inside well too far back to make a move.
Well, Chatroop blew the corner. Here comes
he?
Lavoie to the inside. Took a swipe at him. Couldn't quite make the overlap there,
He
though.
might have some ground there in 2. Maybe he can do something in 3 and 4. Get closer at least. Set up for turn 6 and 7 to try and make a move. Even he is there. Looks to the inside of 4. Pokes his nose down there. Says hello in the mirror. And wants on 5.
That's
It's not going to
be
happen that
tight
corner.
at turn 4. That's really dicey stuff. Do they come out the other side? They do. Side by side.
There he goes.
Lavoie and Chatroop. Here comes Case into the mix.
Wes Casey taking a look on the right side of Lavoie, seeing what he can do. Nothing. I mean, he's just got to ride in line until Lavoie can make a move. Here in 7, he's going to set up for that backstretch. Well, not the backstretch, but the short shoot. I guess down to turn 8. Can he do anything there? I don't think so.
Here comes Case, though. That big BMW power. It's a heavy car. Here comes. Is that Paul Darling up the inside? Darling with a big dive on the brakes. Case going to hold him tight. They come out the other side in one piece, but that leaves a little bit of a gap up to Lavoie and the car he's chasing, which is, of course, that 26 Lewis Chatroop, who's wide again. He's in the grass. Here comes Lavoie around the outside, and Lavoie pressures Chatroop into a mistake.
Lavoie gave him plenty of room to get back on the racetrack safely. He does exactly that in that corner. So no harm, no foul, really. Just a little mistake, goes off track, gets right back on now, enthralled in a battle for position.
4 minutes to go, and still the battle for second continues. O'Gorman leads by 3.3 seconds over the rest of the field. Swenson, Smitagard, second and third. And, of course, Andy's just watching Tom walk away at this point. Can't do much to catch his teammate. It's all focusing on the previous year's champion. Remember that Swenson has not won a race since Circuit of the Americas back in February. I know it's bothering him. His average finish 2.3 since COTA. He has not won a race since that event, all the way back in month number 2 of the year.
And he's only bettering that average finish by continuously finishing second. If he can do it again in this race, it's just going to get that a little bit better until he eventually gets a 2.0 right on the dot at some point.
Swenson goes defensive into turn 8, trying to keep Smitagard behind him, but will that show weakness that Smitagard can take advantage of? Swenson's a little wide. Here comes Andy. This is the area where that ASM S2000 is good. Down the inside for second place. Smitagard and Swenson side by side.
That corner's not done, though, out of turn 10. Swenson has the inside, but Smitagard able to put the power down around the outside, carry momentum down this long back straightaway. Turn 11 is going to get the way of Smitagard for sure, being on that inside line, unless Swenson can do anything about it by the corner. No. Swenson on the outside for 11.
He's going to give it up.
Him have it.
I think he's going to give it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great driving by Smitagard and great clean shifts to get by the much burlier and stronger Corvette on the straightaway. Just goes to show the strength of that K-swap power in the S2000.
Beautiful by both.
With a Corvette. That's impressive stuff.
Beautiful by both. That was good stuff there. So a position swap for position number 2. You'll see it now across the line, reflected on your ticker.
Ooh, Swenson right back to the bumper, though. This might not be over just yet as they continue to battle way in the mirrors of O'Gorman, who's disappearing into the trees already.
Yeah, I said earlier, as soon as Smitagard made a move, they were going to drop like a rock, and that's exactly what's happened. They were already dropping time, and as soon as he poked his nose, they dropped like an anchor. Another 2 or 3 seconds off as we've got more battles out the field. Rosenberg and Kroos is very close.
Yeah, this battle right here, this is the one I'm watching. Kerry James and Emil Tab for the winning formula. BMW versus Miata. There's 800 pounds of difference in the weight of these cars as they sweep through turn number 4, but Kerry James defending vehemently from the 14, brand new livery designed by Rob Wilkinson on this car as he chases the 44 from AKG Motorsport.
It's a beauty of a Miata. And Kerry James, that BMW, very confident last night at least in his car and his abilities, what he can do here today. And he's done well, but right here I think Emil Tab might have the best of him at some point. That Miata just so planted to the corners, gets power down nicely, and at least in the short range out of the corners can pull a little bit, but not it just wasn't quite right.
You know, the thing is, Emil's got ABS in this car, and he's really good on the brakes, but the BMW in particular is so good on the brakes. It's really, really hard to outbrake one of these M3s. So Emil's going to be stuck behind him for a little longer. He's going to have to outdrive him in some of the twistier sections of the course, specifically turns 8, 9, and 10. He's going to have to do it down there. I don't think he can do it into one of those really heavy braking zones. He's going to have to do it between them.
Yeah, Miatas are always strong in the corner. That's where he's going to have to make his move at some point.
So through turn number 12 and heading up towards 13, Emil Tab still putting the pressure on.
Aronowskis and I couldn't see who was behind him there, very close as well, about the 13th, 14th position. So there's close battles all over the racetrack. There was Aronowskis and Wes Case, I think, actually for like 16th, 17th, so a little ways back there. So battles all over the racetrack as is usual in GLTC. It's what we come here for, and we get it every time.
Yeah, there's Wes Case and Paul Darling that continue to battle for position in 15th place. Ronnie Solomon running without a hood. There's Louis Chatroop, who must have had another little slip up. He's dropped down the order a little farther into Dustin Barty, Scott Robertson, and Julio Crispin's clutches at this point. And here's another battle. Jensen in the background was still trying to make up positions after his spin on the opening lap. Emil Tab still going after the 44.
This is a good place to watch as here we go. Emil Tab took a look at the inside of turn 6.
There he goes, there he goes.
And 7, he's going to make the move.
Wow, look at that. Past Kerry James,
Beautiful.
and through goes the 14 car. Nicely done. Textbook move there.
And Kerry had to do a lot right there to facilitate that, right? He saw the nose of the inside, had to just let him go. Realized, I think, that Emil was pushing and had just a little bit of pace on him, but that doesn't mean that Kerry can't get the spot back. I know time is running thin. It might just be this lap or the next, but he can at least get there and try something.
Great pass there by Emil Tab. Moves his way up into 6th place now, just shy of a top 5 as we work our way towards the end of this thing. Expecting white flag already or soon. O'Gorman leads by 6 seconds over Smitagard and Swenson. There's the white flag. Hawk Performance, 1 to go here from GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2. Adam casually on the radio there chatting away as they head under the flag stand. 2.1 miles remain at Autobahn Country Club.
So white flag deployed for our leaders. O'Gorman working around the first half of the circuit for the final time in this race. And James and Tab going to swap spots. And here's a good look at a nice battle here with Matthias, I believe that is.
Scott Robertson, Louis Chatroop, and Julio Crispin in that battle.
Okay.
That's Robertson, Chatroop, and Crispin.
Yep.
Nose to tail, 213-26. And the 911 of Crispin. Here comes Patrick Reyes for Twerk Team Racing. Big dive on Crispin. Really big dive on the brakes. Can he slow it down? Just in time. Big crash. One car gets up on its side down at the corner, way down to turn 8, and somehow lands on his wheels and drives away. Unbelievable. Crispin drives away. That car should have been upside down. Holy cow. Unbelievable. Did you see that? I saw that. Wow.
I'm not often speechless. What?
What just happened?
Wheel-to-wheel contact, and he just puts it right back down on all fours. He had to have counter-steered into that nicely like a monster truck. I want to see the left side of this car.
Wow.
How is it not?
It was
Are
the
you
right.
kidding
I think
me?
it was
That
the right
bumper
side.
No, he got hit in the right side. He was on his left for a second.
Wow. That was bizarre. Anyway, with all that said, where's Tom O'Gorman? He should be getting close to finishing out this lap at this point. White flag still waving for the majority of the field, but O'Gorman is free and clear by 7 seconds. I can't believe, there's the checker. Tom O'Gorman wins race 2 at Autobahn Country Club right before lap traffic. Smitagard second, Swenson in third. But wow, that is unbelievable. We
so
saw,
thankful he didn't go over.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the contact was unfortunate, but both cars drove away. That looked like it was about to be real gnarly, and that was about the best outcome you could have expected.
Yeah, and then some. Really, really thankful he did not go over. That would have been a bad situation. Could have been, I should say. And wow.
Tab in 6th, Kerry James in 7th, Matan Rosenberg 8th. Here's a Hans Horpedal and Fiona Liu battling for position. This is still active, just in the 25th or so position as they sweep through and head back towards turn 13. Well, I've never seen anything like that.
Have you ever?
I have never. I was my heart sank there for a second because I thought we saw 2 people destroy cars, and we thought we were going to see one go for a tumble, but landed on the wheels, and both, I think, are going to finish the race. Unbelievable. There they are, Julio Crispin. And the other, I think, was Pat Reyes, right, in the 68. And that left side doesn't look too hurt at all. So
I think Reyes gave him that spot as well.
Here's Julio Crispin and Jensen to the line. Drag race there for position. And Crispin beats him out after almost tipping up and over. Drag races to the line for 21st place.
Wow.
Whew.
I still, wow.
Man. Speechless after that.
Still finished 21st. I'm beyond impressed. And Reyes did give him that spot eventually. Jensen right behind him. Incredible. Just incredible stuff.
Great, great race there. Up at the front, though, it was Tom O'Gorman. Let's have a look at our results. And we'll take you through the finishing order here. Again, 2 for 2, actually 3 for 3 if you count qualifying. Tom O'Gorman has been the man on top all weekend long here at Autobahn Country Club. And it's Andy Smitagard, his teammate, right behind, doing this like they did NCM and AMP, 1-2. Jeremy Swenson, 3rd. Austin Hurdle, 4th. Matt Waldbaum, Emil Tapp, Kerry James, Rosenberg, Upham, and Carosis, a top 10. Great run for him there. 11th through 20th. Jake Jornstad jumps up just outside the top 10.
And you know what? With Tom breaking that tie of wins when he and teammate Andy Smitagard, I bet he's got a smile even bigger than that on him right now. I mean, he's got to be smiling pretty big. They were both at 5 wins. Now Tomo at 7. As you can see, the rest of the top 20 there. There's Julio Crispin in car 911. That 370Z or almost went over. 350Z that almost went over. Again, so thankful that he did not flip that car.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
that's some Monster Jam counter steer right there to put it back down on all fours. I can't believe that.
Yeah, Patrick Ray has the other car there in the 68, 23rd place. Jeff Preston. You hate it for Jeff because, you know, he was running up inside the top 5 on par for his best race of the season. Had something go amiss. Hopefully he can get that car sorted by tomorrow.
I hope Julio's got an in-car.
I hope so, too.
I hope he's got a GoPro or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like watching cars hit each other. It's a rare occurrence here in GLTC. Yeah. But I will say...
when it goes all right, you want to see it afterwards.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things. Matt DeRusse, though, is in the pits with some drivers. Matt?
All right, we're down in pit lane with Tom O'Gorman, who is in another league on his own. Takes pole and qualifying, wins the first 2 races of the weekend. Just kind of set sail and didn't even look back.
Yeah, I can't thank Andy enough because we built this car. He built this car in about 2 weeks before COTA, and it's a proven package. But when you build a fresh car like that, it always takes time, and we've been pushing and pushing and pushing to make it better and better, and it finally, like, it tipped the spectrum from needs improvement to, like, oh my God, I can't even describe to you what it's like to drive this car, and I feel like I just blacked out a little and just, like, enjoyed driving this car for, I mean, so, yeah, he did it. I don't know. He wants to be here, but he is a little, no, like, way more than I'm doing.
Good job, Tom. Yeah. Tom's got a lot of experience in a lot of things. We're just a little grassroots series that has a lot of fun doing stupid stuff on the track, and the fact that he's this emotional over what seems like a little win is it tells a lot.
I guess you could say it's a little grassroots thing, but you know, I got to pro race, and the entire time I was pro racing, 2018, 2019, I was watching my friends build and start racing GLTC. And I always thought if I had my own car and if I could get out there with them, I wanted to get out there so bad. And when time came for it, this is the place that I chose to come race, and this is where I put all my effort. And I don't think that this is any different than any big race that anybody else is doing around the world, because this is absolutely the hardest racing I've had to work for winning. IMSA, World Challenge, anything else. So, I mean, this is legit. This is really legit stuff.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, Tom, and good job. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wow, great stuff there. That's a fantastic interview. And to see someone that has had such a history running in professional competition to say things like that, it's the real deal out here, Andrew. We're not kidding around.
Yeah, everything about this has, I guess we're going back down to Matt. 1 sec.
You want me in the car, out of the car?
Whatever.
In the car, maybe it'll look more real.
All right, we have the AS of ASM, Andy Smitagard, finishes second in the second race. Had a little battle there with Jeremy, and you got around him and then held him off.
Yeah, it was a tough battle with Jeremy, and it took a few corners to actually make the pass happen. I think it was in like turn 8 I got a run out of him, but I didn't get the pass done till, was it turn 11? So, yeah, super close racing, really good, fun time. Glad Tom got the win, and I'm happy to be in second.
Yeah. Tom had a problem. Tom was a little emotional up there. He was shaking, and yeah, it looked like he was on the verge of tears, but he's very happy with his result, but he says he owes it all to you.
Yeah, but no, it's a full team effort, and today was a roller coaster. You know, we had some car contact issues with the car hitting a wall, and we got that car back on track when most people would just written it off, maybe total the car. We all came together, got that car back out, and got Ronnie back on track. So happy. And then, you know, on top of that, we get to go racing, and we did a 1-2 finish. So it's been so great.
All right, there's Andy, second place. All right. Last but not least, Jeremy Swenson. Started second. Andy got around you there, but just didn't quite have the pace that he had in the first race.
Apparently not. I haven't looked at lap times yet. I wasn't even paying attention. It was so intense. Like, it's a good thing it's only a 15-minute race. That is so intense. But and Andy wore me out. I had a little speed on him in the start of the race, and but man, I made just a few mistakes, and he was right there. And then he checked out a little bit after he passed me. So he definitely had a little more speed. I put brand new tires on for that race, thinking I had some secret weapon, and that's not really. They weren't that good. So oh well.
Yeah, no, it's great to watch you guys battle, and you know, I know you love to win, but it's good to see you up here on the podium.
Dude, you know, from where we started yesterday, those guys were like over a second faster than me, and just to be able to run with them today it feels good. We put a lot of work in last night, my wife and I. Shout out Tiffany, thank you so much. We put a lot of work in trying to make this thing as good as it could possibly be here, and from where we started, I'm pretty happy with it. So thank you, Viking Performance. Thank you, Hawk. Thank you, Holly, and all the rest of my sponsors. I appreciate it.
All right, job well done, Jeremy. Third place.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
Thanks, Matt. And just finishing up on the day, Andrew, just phenomenal race and great interviews there from our top three, and a big thanks to them for helping out and sticking there a couple extra minutes on the grid to do that. Race 2, fantastic action, mid-pack stuff, that wild moment with Julio Crispin almost going up and over, but got it done. Race 2 is complete. We're halfway done with the weekend so far. It's amazing how fast it goes by.
Yeah, I hate that we're already Saturday night, to be honest. I wish we could restart Saturday morning and go back through it all again, even though it was wet, even though my socks are still a bit wet. Just a great day of racing. A really fantastic day of action here.
As you can tell, it's dark here. So
yes,
we're getting ready to end the day. But that's going to do it for us for Saturday. Tomorrow, we've got more for you, kicking things off in the late morning. 2 more streams tomorrow, Race 3, Race 4, more track, battle, and drift. Coming up tomorrow, Sunday, June 26th from Autobahn Country Club and GRIDLIFE Chicago. Kyle Heyer and Andrew Cardinale, the 4th. We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you.
Coverage of GRIDLIFE Chicago is brought to you by Momo, made in Italy since 1964. And by FCP Euro. Every part you buy is guaranteed for life. And by eBay Motors. Let's ride. And by Falcon. The Falcon Azenas RT660 is the official tire of Club TR.
At 303, we're always chasing perfection. Protect your ride with graphene nanospray coating. Now, boost protection, shine, and slickness with Graphene Detailer. Level up your detailing game. Harness the power of graphene with 303.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advanced Auto Parts. Learn more at advancedautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.